All right, so we're going to start out as an example, and you guys don't have to write this part down, of just converting 500 centimeters to meters. All right, so to do that, I need to use one of my metric formulas, or my SI prefix formulas. So if I want centimeters to meters, where would I go? Where do you find centa? All right, excellent. So I see 10 to the negative 2. So what that means, and I'm going to be using scientific notation this whole time. I used decimal notation or whole number notation in the previous video. I'm going to be using scientific notation on this video. What this means is that 10 to the negative 2 meters is 1 centimeter. So the conversion factor I'm going to be using is 10 to the negative 2 meters equals 1 centimeter. Yes, sir. I'm sorry? That's correct. Yeah. So using scientific notation, the 10 to the negative 2 is basically 1 divided by 10 divided by 10. 10 to the positive 2 is 1 times 10 times 10. All right. So, yes, sir. Did you type in formula sheet? All right. So now to do my conversion, I start out with 500 centimeters, and then I make a line like this. Now I want to convert centimeters to meters. So somebody who is in physics, tell me, should I have centimeters on the top or the bottom on this part? The bottom. Why the bottom? Exactly. So I want to cross out centimeters so I can find meters. And then I just plug in my conversion factor here. So I'll say 10 to the minus 2 meters is 1 centimeter. Then I just multiply 500 times 10 to the minus 2, which means I can just move my decimal point 2 spaces over. So 500 times 10 to the minus 2 is 5 meters. All right. Now, some of y'all are like, but why in the world would I be using this scientific notation? It's so much easier to just write out the zeros and multiply it that way. Then I don't have to bother with this 10 to the minus stuff. So I'm going to do an example that shows why this is so much more helpful. Because when we start using much larger numbers, things get a little out of control. Yes, sir. Okay, you can just look and touch it on his computer. All right, so let's do five. So we're going to do 5 trillion 650 billion. Let's see, trillions, billions, millions, thousands, tens, and we're going to do milliseconds, and we're going to convert that to seconds. Well, that's a whole lot of zeros. And if I keep working like this, I'm going to be writing out zeros after zeros after zeros a ton. And so first, I want to convert this to scientific notation. And so what this is, I'm just going to count my decimal spaces that I have here. So I'm going to go, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so if I'm going to, and then I'll leave this, so of ones that I'm going to, I guess I should say, how many times am I going to move my decimal point? So my decimal point is currently right here. So if I move it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, hold on, that's not right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There we go. Then if I move it 12 spaces to the left, then I go 5.65 times 10 to the 12th milliseconds. And then I want to convert that to seconds. So I have, do I have milliseconds on the top or the bottom for my conversion? Bottom. Milliseconds to seconds. Let's go back into my formula sheet and find the conversion. So what's my conversion from milliseconds to 3? Shouldn't be 3. Milliseconds is not 3, it is -3. Yeah. So 10 to the -3 seconds is 1 millisecond. Oh. Hold on. Here it comes back. What was 10 squared? It was 10 to the 12th power is what we just did. What's that? They are captured by this 10 to the 12th. So if I move my decimal 12 spaces to the left, I can just say times 10 to the 12th. Yeah. And so I don't have to write nearly as many zeros. It's think more decimal places. So it's move the decimal. Yeah, because I could have a lot of, like it could be 5,650,232,513,604. So it doesn't have to be zeros. It can't. It just removing decimal places, not necessarily zeros. Yeah. All right. So does anybody know from your math classes, if I'm trying to multiply this number and this number, what should I do? I'm multiplying. I need to cross out my milliseconds first. All right. Now I'm going to multiply 5.65 times 10 to the 12th times 10 to the -3. Anybody know what I do? We subtract not the circles, but the exponents. So I just say 12 minus 3 is 9. And so now I've got 5.65 times 10 to the 9th seconds. And that would be my answer. All right, yes, ma'am. In scientific notation, you mean? Like in the 5.65 times 10 to the whatever? It is, you can do it either way, but I recommend using the scientific notation. Yeah. All right. Let's go over and actually do some. So I've already done a video for steps for 3.2, 1, 2, and then 3A and B. So we're going to do C and we're going to do the ones that I didn't do before on the other video. So first, let me show you guys how I set up my engineering notebook here. All right, so up at the top, I have 3.2 unit conversion. For each of my steps, I put the number and I circled it. And then because step 3 has a whole lot of sub-steps, I did 3. Then I've got A, B, C, D, E, F, and I actually had to go over to the next page, and J is on the second page. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll be doing all of these. If you don't know how to do it, there's going to be videos showing you how to do each step. All right. So, we're going to do step C together. But first, before we do that, I want you guys to have a chance to set up your page so that you have room for everything else. So go ahead and write down step 1, step 2, step 3, and leaving your steps A, B. Don't write down all the work. Just write down all those numbers so that in those same areas, so that you leave yourself space to do the work in a second. So I'll give you guys just a moment to do that. All right, for step C, it asked me to convert 43,000 microseconds to seconds, and then give it to the nearest thousandths of a second. All right, so write this out. And we're starting out with 43,000 microseconds. Okay. And then I'm going to first convert that to scientific notation. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it is equals 4.3 times 10 to the 4th. And then 43,000 is the same as 4.3 times 10 to the 4th power. Yes. All right. And then looking at my microseconds here, it is 10 to the minus 6. So I'll be using that in a second. So I started out with 4.3 times 10 to the 4th. It's that weird symbol for micro seconds. Set of my conversion. I should have 1 microsecond on the bottom. What was the conversion for a micro to second? 10 to the minus 6. Oh. All right, so I should have 4.3 times 10 to the 4th microseconds. Then 10 to the 6th seconds over microseconds. Cross out microseconds. Then I say 4.3 times 10 to the 4th times 10 to the minus 6th. I subtract those. So what is 4 minus 6? Nope. 4 minus 6, negative 2. So I would get 4.3 times 10 to the minus 2 seconds. And for some reason, they asked me to put that into decimal form. And so with that minus 2, I've got to shift it the other direction. So for minus 2, I've got to shift my decimal point the other way. So it would be 0.00 for that minus 2 for 3 seconds. Both of those are the correct answer. This is the one that PLCW asked for. This is what I would probably, this is what I'd probably do, because I think scientific notation is a lot easier to use on these. Ma'am. Good question. So the question was, how do you know when to use scientific notation and when to use decimal notation? The short answer is you can use either one on any question unless it specifically asks for one or the other. So if it specifically asks for one or the other, you'll use the one it asks for. But most of the time, if it doesn't say specifically, you can use whichever one you want. All right. Okay, hold on just a second. Let me finish now this question, then I'll come to yours. All right. Now, can you try to ask your question a different way? Yep. Yep. Oh, good question. So that's what the prefix. So the prefix that in this case, that little milli or micro, I mean, the prefix is the exact same thing as saying 10 to the minus 6. So if I have the prefix, it's just 1. If I don't have the prefix, it's 10 to the minus 6. So what this is telling me is that whether I'm looking, so we'll use seconds as the example, so let's put it here, that 1 microsecond equals 10 to the minus 6 seconds. And so it's saying that micro means 10 to the minus 6. So for instance, if I was doing meters, 1 micrometer is the same thing as 10 to the minus 6 meters. So the prefix, it equals that, like that equivalent. And so generally speaking, coming back to our conversion, I will always put a 1 next to one with a prefix, and the conversion next to the one that has no prefix. All right, Charles, can you ask your question? Are you talking about when you got your answer here? So I did this and then converted the answer to decimals? Short answer is no. I just did this because it specifically asked me for my answer, a decimal answer to the nearest thousandth of a second. So that depends on the specific calculator you're using. So I'll make that an individual question when you show me the calculator you're using. All right, I'm going to come down here and do E because oh yes sir. Okay, I'll get to that after we finish the video. All right, so let's come down to E and do that one together. So E said 0.55. Oh, I'm sorry. Is this a question about C? Microseconds. Yes, microseconds. All right. So E, 0.55 feet to inches. So this I'm going to be using a different kind of conversion factor, and these are actually a little bit easier if you are not used to scientific notation. But I will definitely need to use a calculator on this. So I want 0.55 feet to inches. So I need to go back into my formula sheet, look at the conversion factors. And can somebody tell me, either looking at a conversion factor or from memory, what is the conversion from feet to inches? Actually, it looks like it's not even on here because I just assume you know it. Somebody tell me how many inches are in a foot? 12. 1. All right, 12 inches in a foot. So do I put feet on the top or the bottom here? Feet at the bottom, inches at the top, 12 inches, 1 foot. Cross out feet. I say 0.55 times 12. Somebody plug that in the calculator for me. 0.55 times 12 equals 6.6 inches, because inches are my units. And I'm done. Yes, sir. All right, let's do G together. I am.
Well, not some of them.
Yeah, but I'm going to post. So, Robert, in answer to your question or your implied question, there is a whole sheet of ones I'm not going to do for you. In the third step, it says something like 3.2 homework. You don't actually have to do it at home, but there will be a whole section that you have to do on your own. These are kind of the more examples to learn how to do this stuff. All right, G. 3 foot 5 inches to decimal feet. This is all right. Let me just put the set down here. All right, and I want to go to decimal feet. So the only tricky part of these is figuring out what to convert. So do I need to convert 3 feet to feet? No, it's already in feet. What do I need to convert to feet? The 5 inches. So I'll say 5 inches. All right, do I want feet on the top or the bottom? Top. What goes in the bottom? Inches. How many inches in a foot? 12 inches, 1 foot, cross out inches. Because I say 5 divided by 12 because the 12 is in the bottom. What is 5 divided by 12? 0.416. I'm going to round that to 0.42 feet. All right. Is 0.42 feet my answer? Yes, I've got to add back my 3 feet. So what would be my answer? Yes, so 3.42 feet. If I could actually finish writing feet, is my answer. .42 feet. All right. Moving on. Oh, questions on that one? All right. This next one is a little bit tricky because it's a 2-part conversion. And of course, when you guys do chemistry, you end up doing like 8-part conversions. So it's not a big deal. So just a 2-parter. But we'll just do this together. Oh, wait, never mind. H is not a 2-part conversion. We'll still do it. All right, so I start with 59.2 centimeters. I want to go to inches. Can somebody use the formula sheet to tell me what is the conversion from inches to centimeters?
1 inch equals 2.54.
All right, 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. Do I have inches on the top or the bottom on this one? So I'm converting from centimeters to inches. So centimeters on the bottom, inches on the top. So inches, centimeters, 2.54 centimeters equals 1 inch. So I say 59.2 divided by 2.54. Someone plug that in your calculator for me. You are sitting in front of a computer, sir. Appreciate you. All right, 59.2 divided by 2.54. Who's got it? 23.31. We agree. And yes, I forgot to cross my centimeters. Inches is my unit there. And I always box my answer. All right, and finally, the last one we're going to do together is I. This is our 2.2 part conversion. So it is 3.2 yards to inches. All right. Looking at your formula sheet, is there a conversion from yards to inches? No, but there is one to feet. So this crew's got it. All right, so how do I convert yards to feet? 1 yard equals 3 feet. Yards are on the bottom. Feet are on the top. And then before I plug that in, you guys can't see what I'm doing. Here we go. Before I plug that in, I want to go ahead and put in my conversion from feet to inches. So what is my conversion from feet to inches? All right, 12 inches is 1 foot. Feet is on the bottom so it can cross out. And now I should get my answer in inches. So it'll be 3.20 times 3 times 12. Let me know when you have that answer. 103.2? 115.2? I agree. All right. Of course, because I just finished this page, I would sign. I did not continue from the previous page. I'm going to continue on the next page, which for me is 14. Yours is going to be different. And the date is 9/19. And as soon as I end this recording, I'm going to get a witness to come sign off on this. But this video should be as strong a witness as there could possibly be. Yes. All right. That should give you all of step 1. You guys can work on these on your own.